Yeah, yo, sometimes you gotta go to war for what you believe in. Sometimes you gotta go to war for what it is that you want, what you see that's right. I'm about to go to war, but lyrically. War cry, baby. Yeah. Hey yo, war cries echoes in the background. That's the sound of soldiers getting ripped up and tore down. Lyrically dismantle metaphors and manhandle. Marauder what we... Welcome to another edition of Impose My Will podcast. I am your host, your brother Ramone. With me, my other host, my brother Joe. What's happening, big dog?
Cracking, big man.
Coolin', man. How has your week been, my man?
It's been cool, man. A little chill. Been busy, obviously.
Yes, sir.
We
Working,
here,
man.
man.
Working, man.
Yeah.
Word. So, we want to thank everyone for tuning in. We want to thank you guys for, consistently coming back, man. We've been watching our numbers. We pay attention, and slowly but surely things are growing. Our social media is growing. Definitely thanks to my brother Joe for the work that he's been putting in on the social media side. So we appreciate it. We appreciate any and all the love. So we ask you to subscribe to the channel, share it if you feel it. Or dislike it if you ain't feeling what we're saying. You know what I'm saying? We are individuals at the end of the day.
Yes, sir.
Before we get started, man, I was just gonna say, is there anything you wanna talk about in particular? Of course, there are things that we're gonna talk about, but is there anything on your mind outside of the general points that we're gonna make?
Man, it's so much to tap on. Let's just rock with it, man, because we got a lot going on. We got, obviously big women's fight, so that's being shooken up a little bit. We got a lot with the upcoming fights coming up, man. We got a quiet week this week. Nothing too much in this week with boxing. So yeah, we just got a lot going on with boxing, man. Like we got a quiet week this week. Not too much going on, but outside of that, we just got what we got lined up.
No doubt. So let's jump right in. Of course, this past weekend we had two major events. One, we had, of course, the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul card, which, by the way, was a very entertaining card. All in all, we may not talk about the entire card today, of course, but it wasn't a bad card at all. Even some of the undercards was dope. So I mean, the prelims I should say was really dope. The undercards was good. You know, the Ramos versus Barrio fight was really good, really entertaining.
Yes.
So shout out to MVP Jake Paul and MVP for putting it on. And then also on Saturday night we had John Jones returning back to the octagon, doing this thing in the heavyweight division with defending his title. It was also some really good fights there.
Yes.
When it comes to the UFC, mixed martial arts, other combat sports, we are going to get into it. We are going to touch on it more because we're not just fans of boxing, we're fans of combat sports in general. So, we may touch on some tonight. Maybe not a deep dive, so to speak, but I would love it. As you know, Joe, my background, I'm a martial artist, both traditional and modern. You've done some stuff as well, Muay Thai in the gym. So, we've been around, you know what I mean? So it's not just boxing on this channel. We're going to touch other things. But with that being said, man, let's jump right into it. Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano 2. Crazy night.
Yeah.
Crazy night, man. You want to set it off?
Man, I ain't gonna lie. I was one of those folks that was mad because Netflix, y'all kept on buffering me with this fight.
Right.
But I finally had a chance to go back to watch it, man.
Right.
This fight created a lot of talk after, you know what I mean, with the controversy.
Sure.
Excellent fight, first of all. My hat goes to both women that came to this bout. Again, solid. But in this fight here, we all know the controversy with Katie Taylor winning over Amanda Serrano. There's a lot of people that feel like Amanda Serrano won.
Right.
Obviously, you see the post. a lot. But going back and watching the fight, and you said it, and I had to go back and like to really like, and
Yeah,
I could see her winning. Like I'm not really mad with Katie Taylor winning
yeah, yeah,
because when you start looking, I would say Amanda Serrano had her pretty good through the first 4 rounds.
yeah,
That's my opinion. When that headbutt came,
yeah.
it wasn't just the cut that affected her because she was still going, but
Mm,
those headbutts took a load off her. She did move a little slow. There's a couple times I felt like she got dazed,
yep.
but for every one solid punch Amanda hit her with,
Hmm.
Katie Taylor came back with like two or three,
Yeah,
like solid. Like I felt like Amanda Serrano didn't catch her flush a lot of the times. So it's
yeah,
like, she didn't have that much of a heavy impact. But Katie Taylor, man, her punches, bro, like she was like mollywhopping her like every time.
yeah,
Um, but yes, I do see that Amanda did have like a lot more landed punches. She had a higher percentage. I want to say 44-1. But at
yeah.
the end of the day, um, yeah, Cody, the only thing that makes it a controversy really is that point that was taken away.
Yes, yep. Which
You
a
know,
lot of people are saying that should have evened the playing field or even gave her the fight.
yes. That's the only thing where I was like, if you make an argument off of that assumption, yes. But
Right,
solid fight, bro. Solid fight.
right, right.
Mm.
Yeah, I dig it. I'm with you, man. It's
How
interesting
did
because
you
we
feel
had.
it? Mhm.
Well, it's interesting because we were messaging back and forth fight night and stuff like that, and my off of my first reaction, I thought Katie Taylor got it, and I'm a big Amanda Serrano fan. I was rooting for Amanda Serrano, but more than anything, I was rooting for a great fight, which I knew it would be.
Yes.
Um, but on just first watch, just raw watch, I was like, yo, I think Katie Taylor got that. But I was also saying to our other bro, I don't think she got it completely and strictly based off of just fighting. I think
Mm-mm.
circumstances happened and it ended up leaning, her way. So I need to watch that again to really give you a real for real breakdown of how I feel because what I saw and the numbers don't necessarily line up. And I'll
No.
explain why. And you touched on it, right? You touched on
Mm-hmm.
the output, right? So according to CompuBox, Amanda Serrano landed over 100 more punches than Katie Taylor. But if you watching that fight, for me, it didn't feel like it. She on her
Mm-mm.
back foot throwing combinations, throwing punches and bunches. You know what I'm saying? Moving back, catching her, turning, move. I felt like she was throwing. I felt like Katie was throwing just as much or even more uh, during the fight. But
Mm-hmm.
according to CompuBox, if we trust those numbers, Amanda threw 100 more punches or 100 plus more punches. But I'll say this: with I thought that Amanda Serrano's opening rounds were beautiful. There was a
Mm-hmm.
strategy there. A lot of people try to say, "Oh, she don't have a strategy. She just come forward, come forward, come forward." That's not true. Matter of
Mm-hmm.
fact, if you watch her last fight, she definitely had a strategy. Yes, she does have a come forward style, but that doesn't mean it's not laced in strategy and tactics, right? It's her particular style. Everybody has a particular style, but it's how they dress it up, right? So
Right.
with her, first, second, third, I would even go as far as to say fourth, but I'm definitely gonna say first, second, and possibly third. She had the plan. You could see the plan. She was way more methodic. She was not throwing a bunch of punches. She was fighting very evenly, and she caught her. She rocked her in the what was that? The
Yeah.
second round.
Second round.
Second round, caught her, lined her up. Um, basically, what's the word I'm looking for? Just really calm.
Yeah.
Um, I'm sure they watched the last fight, and the last fight she was chasing her around, just what I mean, how this fight ended, and they had a strategy for that, but those headbutts, I think, shook her up, and the plan kind of went out the window, in my opinion.
Yeah. That's
And it
where I
was
felt like it changed right there.
exactly
Mm-hmm.
first one, second one. Third one. I think I counted 6 headbutts. One of them was a clash, but that was after 4 headbutts had already happened. And then at the last bell, at the very end of the fight, Katie Taylor went in and headbutted again. Now, was these on purpose? I can't say it was. I don't know if they were on purpose per se. She was going in with her head a lot. And the southpaw, stance and all this different stuff.
Clash
That
is bound
plays
to
a
happen.
role. Yeah, that's absolutely bound to happen, especially the way she throw her punches and the way she throw her head in. But whether it was on purpose or not, it definitely changed the trajectory of Amanda Serrano's game plan. Straight up,
You're right. Right.
I think anybody with eyes could see that, you know, when she came into the fight in the first couple of rounds versus every other round after that, there were two different. She was two different fights going on, two
Yeah,
different things
because
going
she
on.
was very calculated in the
Absolutely,
first 2 rounds. Very calculated.
very
Punch
calculated.
shot her punches like very precise and everything. You even hear
Yeah,
commentators saying it at one
right.
point, like her approach is slightly different from the last one, but it's
Absolutely.
working. And then next thing you know, wow,
Yeah,
she staggers
yeah,
Katie. But
yeah,
you also see too, Katie Taylor coming out of the corner in that third round,
yeah,
and you could tell, from what her trainer was saying to her is like,
yeah.
okay, we gotta get this game plan going. You know,
Right.
she stepped it up the third round or whatever.
For sure. For
After
sure.
that second headbutt, that's when I think it shifted. After Katie Taylor was cut,
Yeah.
that second one when she hit it and she felt it again, you seen the energy shift because she was like very like pissed off at that point. I would
She
say
was
that's when she kind of
yes,
lost it and
absolutely.
everything went out the window.
She was that's you used the perfect word. She was
Mm,
completely pissed off. She was angry. She started fighting emotional. That's why she was going
yeah.
forward. Went back to, how she quote unquote
hmm
normally
Went
fights.
back to
She
that
fought
old fight.
very,
Yeah.
yeah, fighting very emotional. At this point, she's bleeding, she's gushing. She's
It's
just trying to
getting in the
score points.
eye.
Yeah. Yeah. She's just trying to score. She's just trying to do something because we have, people got to understand in the eyes of the judges, you don't 100% know what they're looking at, and she has to continue to look like she has the fight, right?
Right. hmm
Even through the frustration and stuff like
She
that.
had
So
a
that
great poker face like throughout the
yeah,
rest. Like
yeah,
every time because you can see Katie Taylor though it's like she's leaning in, even like when they was
yeah,
in the tie up, she's
yeah.
leaning with her forehead, like kind of like rubbing against it or whatever. So
And
the
that's what makes
strategy
people
worked in
think
her
that
favor.
and that's what makes people think that maybe that was a part of their strategy. You know what
Which
I'm saying?
I honestly think it was after a certain
Right,
point. Like, hey,
right.
you see it with fighters, like, yo,
You see it,
they
yeah.
got a wound, they got a cut. You expose it, you use it to your advantage,
Use it to
and
you. And
yo,
she
yeah,
was definitely striking that area for sure, for sure, for sure.
hmm
So my question to you is: we seen part one, we saw part two. Essentially, it kind of ended up the same, right? It kind of ended up
right.
looking like the same fight after a while. Would you be interested in a part three?
I would kind of like to see Katie Taylor go to a different direction,
Mm-hmm.
but that fight will sell because what it got, you got a solid fight.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if you change up the ref, somebody's going to be a little bit more higher on the headbutts
Yeah,
or
because how
whatever. It
many
may
goddamn
change.
headbutts do you need?
Oh, bro, you
You know what
almost
I'm saying?
yeah. She had a half dozen easy.
Yeah,
You know what I
crazy,
mean? But
crazy.
I would kind of like them if they do run it back or whatever. Hey, go ahead, come back to it or something like that. I like to see them do it in Puerto Rico. To be honest with you.
That'd be crazy. But Katie might say, "You got to come over to Ireland," and
Right. Yeah. I
try to
mean, you
feel it.
already know what it's gonna be, but it's
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
um, you know, is a lot could change. And we
True.
came across, some info earlier or
Yeah.
whatever. I kind of would like to see that, to be honest with you.
I agree. I know exactly what you're talking about too.
hmm
I know exactly what you're talking about. How would you feel? So, let me ask you this: her trainer made a suggestion about her going over to fight in the PFL. How would you feel about that? We know that Manny Serrano also trains MMA, also fights
Right.
MMA, even though she's given pretty much most of her professional career to boxing, how would you feel about seeing her switch back over to that sport?
I love her boxing. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I would hate to see her lose. I'm not even gonna use the word lose. I would hate to see her leave
Mm-hmm.
without the redemption. But at the same time, if that just happens in the PFL,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mad at that. You talk about a great fight. You know, you're
Yeah.
about to get that warrior between the two. Like, so if they went over there, I wouldn't be mad at it, bro. It's just,
Yeah.
I would still want to see other fights happen. I don't want to see her leave boxing. Um,
Right.
the women's division right
Stuck with
now,
it.
just they going at it, bro. Like,
Yeah.
and the women is fighting.
Women to fight.
So
Yeah. Yeah. The women, they want to get it in. The best want to fight the
yeah.
best. You got women who want to move up, move down
Hmm.
to get it in. The men could learn a thing or two from the women.
Hmm. But
Um,
it's slightly different though with the women,
yeah.
because I don't think they get in the bag like the men are.
No, they're not, and that's the reason why you would
So
chase
they're
the.
gonna fight more after often.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. You're not getting a bag like the men. It's way less women than the men. Like
Yeah.
way, way less. Like you got champions after you know
That's 8-0. You know what I mean? Like,
right 8-0. Like it's different. It's a different ecosystem, but
right.
they still with it. They still ready to get it
Hmm.
popping, and I can respect that.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
yeah, man. So moving on. Let's move on to Mike and Jake Paul, man. I take the lead on this one if you're okay about it, if you're cool
Go
with
ahead,
that.
brother.
Listen, so many people are upset, and I don't know why. I know why, but they shouldn't be upset. Put it like
Nope.
that. Last episode, I spoke about the romanticism of Mike Tyson. A couple episodes ago, prior to that, I spoke about the romanticism of Mike Tyson and people thinking and believing that they were going to see, Mike just all of a sudden it was going to be Mike from 89, Mike from 88, Mike from 90, 91, whatever the case may be. Like, when I say a lot of people were saying, Mike is the one to do it. Mike is going to knock him out. Da 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 da. Power, power, power. And what I saw, I am not surprised about. Not one bit.
Yeah.
What we
Uh,
saw was a 60 and hold on, before I say that, the training clips. Mad people look good in training clips, bro. Deontay Wilder looks great in his training clips. He looked like he punched somebody's arm off. Oh, he looks so good. I asked the question. I always ask the question. How does Mike look in sparring? Is he sparring? And if he is, how does he look? You look completely different when you have a non-compliant opponent moving around, throwing punches back at you. So
mhm.
we got to see how he looks when somebody else is in the ring moving around. First things first, Mike's legs were gone before the fight started.
He tripped coming out of the tunnel, bro.
Tripped, coming like got in there and them legs. And what's crazy is I'm happy and surprised that he was able to keep his balance for most of the fight because them legs, man, them legs was bad, man. Those legs is really bad, really
Yo, the
really bad.
wild part about it, they
Yeah,
made him take that journey walk
yeah,
after tripping out that tunnel, turn the
yeah.
corner, and Jake Paul come out being chauffeured
Car,
in the
right?
car.
Being
You know what I'm saying?
chauffeured in a car,
By the
like
time he got to the stairs, he looked up at that ring. It was like, man, these motherfuckers.
yeah. He was like, I'm
You know what I'm
3
saying?
pounds in already. God,
Right, right.
damn, what the
Walk
hell?
up
I'm
them
3
stairs
pounds
like an old man. Like, God damn
in. Yeah,
it.
crazy, man. So you know, as far as the fight goes, in my opinion, is not a whole lot to break down, right? Jake Paul,
Nah.
in my opinion, kind of carried Mike. He could have did a lot of damage to him, but he carried him. He didn't want
Hmm.
to really kind of hurt Mike like that. This was
Show respect.
he showed respect, and it's like for Jake, he's damned if he do, he's damned if he don't.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? For Mike is solidified, one of the greatest, Hall of Famer, blah, blah, blah. But Jake is damned if he do, damned if he don't. If he would have knocked Mike out, people would have cursed him. You know what I'm saying? You should have did that to
He
that
already
man.
getting it now.
It's not, you know what I mean? So,
Mhm.
you know, he pretty much danced around Mike most of the night. He hit him with whatever he wanted to hit him with, which wasn't much. Mike got us some shots off as well, which did nothing for the most part. And that was that. It did not live up to anybody's expectation or hype. But for me, the fight went exactly how it was supposed to go. An almost 60-year-old man who hasn't fought in prior to the Roy Jones thing, seriously fought in damn near 20 years or something like that, went out there and got a bag. You know what I'm saying? And Jake Paul got a bigger bag. And that's how it was. And then, it's interesting because I was watching Andre Ward break it down. And he said the same thing. You know what I'm saying? His breakdown is very similar. He was like, what y'all expect? He's almost 60, right? And hold on. Don't get me wrong. Being in the circles that I'm in, I know men of upper 50s in their 60s and stuff who would beat the brakes off of young boys. Again, I'm a martial artist. I'm in the martial art community. They take care of themselves. We don't factor in the wars Mike has been in the ring. We don't factor in some of the bad losses he took. We don't factor in the drug abuse that he had for many, many years. All of this stuff takes a toll on you, especially especially in your later age. You know what I mean? Those things change the body, right? It changes the chemistry. No matter how hard you train, though, all of those things will affect you, and that's what we saw. That's what we saw.
Right.
So I got
Like the positive thing about that whole thing, it brought new eyes to the sport.
for sure.
You got a lot of people that never seen Tyson in the ring that just wanted to see Tyson in the ring.
Yeah,
And many people tuned in for that or whatever. I know I did.
I agree.
That's what I said.
Yeah,
You know.
you also got Also, here's the thing. You got a lot of people who used to love the sport of boxing who no longer watch, who hasn't watched
Hasn't watched it
boxing
since Tyson.
since Tyson. I know I talk to people out and about and stuff. They'd be like, boxing? Who ain't nobody? There's nobody good. There's nobody good. And I'm like, yo, there is people good. You got to check it out. But
Right.
it ain't no stars like that in boxing no more. I read an article that said boxing was on like a 50-year decline. Every year, a little bit of decline. And you got people who used to be boxing fanatics that do not watch boxing anymore because for multiple reasons. The characters are not interesting. The knockouts ain't like they used to be. It's just so many
The
things.
game changed though slightly.
For sure.
You know,
The game
for the
changed.
simple fact that
Yeah.
that goose egg people are scared to let go.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure. Absolutely.
Back in the day, they fought. They didn't care about that.
They didn't care. They fought and they tried to fight the best all the time. Whenever you know what I'm saying. So it is a different day about it. Say it again.
I said, and you got paid more back then.
Yo, it's crazy now.
Some of those purses that they got.
Purses was the politics of the sport has really hampered it big time, right? It takes some of your best fighters you might see once a year, which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
Once a year? I gotta wait to see you every November, every January, or once in the summer. Man, praise God if you fought twice. Well, you fought twice. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
why you
Like,
gotta applaud these young fighters. You know what I'm saying?
because
Yeah,
they
Abdullah
with it.
Masons and stuff like
Yeah.
that. He fought what 6 times this year?
Yeah. But I want to see the great shout out to Abdullah. I love the fact that they're taking these fights and stuff. But I want to see the elite mix it up more. I want to see the elite mix it up more. So you're right, man. It brought a lot of eyes, new eyes to the sport. A lot of people who haven't even dabbled in the sport. Unfortunately, it was not the greatest display for the sport. But you take what you can get. Take what you can get. Yeah. So
And they made a great fight weekend, bro. You
Oh
know,
yeah. Oh yeah.
because if you want to tap into the John Jones fight, that was the day
Yeah.
after.
You want to jump in there? Or you have any more commentary for the Mike fight?
I ain't got no more for the Mike fight. You know, we all knew what that was going to be. We had our wishes and hopes. Let's get that glimmer, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
reality sets in.
Yes, it did.
um, but yeah, for Saturday night,
Mhm.
John Jones versus Stipe.
Yes.
Um,
Miocic.
now this fight here, it- my joint is breaking out or whatever, so
Yeah.
I had to go back and watch the replay
Mhm.
with this fight. And I'm just gonna ask you straight up: is there anybody out there who could beat John Jones? Is he the best pound for pound fighter in the world?
You asking me that question?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. John Jones to me is the best to me is the best pound for pound fighter in the world. There's plenty of internet fans and all of that that's going to say he's not the top pound for pound fighter because of his recent commentary about not wanting to fight Tom Aspinall. Um, and they're saying like, he's a dog, blah blah blah. Um, yes, to me he is. There's nobody in the sport that's done what he done. Not
No.
not Saint Pierre, not anybody active or anybody inactive. There's nobody who's done what he's done. Then he comes in and fights the greatest heavyweight fighter of UFC history and make um
He picked him apart, bro.
just made him look like an amateur. And here we are. You got people trying to discredit, the work that he did. You even unfortunately DC um Daniel Cormier, you know, tried to say Stipe didn't look like his regular self and he was slow and all that. Stipe looked fine. And Dana White said the same thing. He said Stipe was fine and he got kicked in the stomach, which rocked him, which that slowed him down and he kept getting kicked in the stomach.
Right.
And that you could see it on his face. Every time he got kicked in the stomach, he was like, "Ooh," it was like it hurt.
That
You know what I'm
first
saying?
front kick, bro. That for that first front
Changed the
kick that
fight.
I saw, I was like,
Changed the
yo,
fight.
that just changed him. It was like he
It
thinking twice
changed
about this whole thing.
bro. And then not only that, I thought John was gonna finish him in the first round on the ground, a
Yeah.
ground and pound. If he would have had like 5 more seconds, he would have beat him in the first round. Once he finally fully got him on the ground and started the ground and pound, he was busting Stipe up, bro. He was busting him up. So I give the credit to where the credit is due. John Jones
Mhm.
is, in my opinion, the pound for pound best fighter in the UFC. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with you with that.
Yeah.
I would like, yeah, I wish I could actually see him fight. Like after watching that fight,
Yeah.
if I had the opportunity to go see him fight live, I would.
I wish he was in Toronto. He was right there, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's crazy because you'll be thinking about it. I got a chance to see him when DC fought um what's my man name? Rumble Johnson
Oh yeah,
in
you did say
Buffalo.
that, yeah.
And that's when Rumble had he retired there. I think
Mhm.
he actually fought after that, but he retired from UFC there. And John Jones was in the crowd. He was there because John Jones was doing the meet and greets and all that different stuff the day before. And he was there in the crowd, and DC was, they was going back and forth talking. So I got to see him, you know, but I didn't get the chance to see him actually fight. Um,
Right.
and I feel like I missed that. That's an opportunity
Mhm.
missed because I'm probably
Yeah.
not gonna ever see him fight at this point. But um, yeah, not
Probably not.
not probably
If he
because you never
does,
know
it's
that
gonna
that
be
next
right
fight could
there.
be in Saudi Arabia. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? And that next fight is
Hey,
probably his last fight.
yeah,
It's probably his last fight.
honestly, probably gonna
Yeah,
be his last one.
yeah.
But
So
who do you think it would be? Would it be Arsenal or
Pereira.
would it be Pierre?
I mean, he made it clear. He made it very clear. He said that Pereira is the person he wants to fight. It makes more sense. He it was a litany of reasons. he was saying for the other fight, they would have to pay him a obscene amount of money, because again, another litany of reasons, you know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
nah, he knows who he wants to fight. He knows why he wants to fight. John understands that he's aging, and
He's very well aware of his
very
body.
well aware that he's aging and he's moving different. He's probably slowed down, even though his brain is still super sharp, right? He's still very tactical, but he understands his limitations at this time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
I heard
saying?
him
And
speak about that a couple
yeah,
times. Like,
yeah,
his body, he likes it feeling a little bit more heavier, but this is way, or, I feel like I got to trim off this weight. Like, he knows his body very
yeah,
well, bro.
absolutely. So he's in tune with where he is in life right now. I
Yeah.
also love the fact that John's like, there was things that he did not do that people were talking about. He didn't do the spinning elbows. He didn't do any oblique kicks, that kind of thing. But the man is still adding to his arsenal. He knows that, he said it himself, I don't have one punch power. I don't have that one punch knockout power. But, he got with a taekwondo instructor and worked on that spinning back kick, which ended Stipe.
Yeah, I think he broke a rib on
Retired.
that too.
Yeah, yeah. That joint
He
was
shattered
nasty.
something.
Yeah, and even at this particular point of his career, he's still a student. He's still learning different things, which reminds me, which is very much the spirit of like an Anderson Silva. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who is, Anderson is, for me, is the one. You know what I'm saying? Prime anyway. And so the fact that he's understanding, and that's what made great fighters. That's what made Floyd Mayweather great when he went from Pretty Boy Floyd to Money Mayweather. There was things that he couldn't do. His hands and his shoulders were jacked up and stuff. So knocking people out just really wasn't his forte anymore. But out
You gotta
strategize
adapt.
completely, and which stretches these Floyd and John Jones. It stretches your career out so much more further instead of you just, chasing this past person you used to be. You know what I mean?
Right.
You make the adjustments so you can still fight at a high level, get the bag, get the big bags, and still not lose and still win. So yeah, man, John Jones. Not only is he pound for pound, but he's the GOAT. We will never see someone in the UFC like this again, at least in our particular lifetime. We'll be gone before we see what somebody has done. This man's been a youngest champion, been a champion since pretty much since
19?
20. I think he was
20?
20.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was 20. Only loss, if you want to call it a loss on his record, was a disqualification, which I believe was overturned recently. That's it. That's it. So
Yeah, it's
love
crazy.
it.
Yeah.
What about you? Any
But yeah,
commentary?
man. Nah, man. What we got coming up down the pipeline, bro?
Yo, so coming up down the pipeline, interviews. We want to roll out some more interviews. We love doing interviews, man. So we got a couple of we have a couple of names floating around. We just got to lock them in. Locally coming up, Joe Taylor. Our guy Joe Taylor, who we did a recent interview. If you did watch the interview, you kind of heard about an announcement that he want to make, but the call didn't come through. Well, the call came through. November 30th, Rochester, New York. He is making his boxing
Pro
boxing debut, which is so crazy because when you go to his gym, all the boxers he trained and all the boxing that goes on in there, you would think that he would have had this long boxing career, but his professional career was in kickboxing and MMA and amateur boxing. And at 40 years old, he's making his boxing, his pro boxing debut.
It's crazy though, because he don't look 40 at all, bro.
Don't look 40.
Don't look 40 at all.
Not beat up, So that's happening again on the 30th in Rochester, New York. If you're in the area, if you're around, go check the card out. We have it posted on our Facebook page and Post My Will Podcast Facebook page, Instagram page as well. So it's kind of a large card too, from what I saw. It's a lot of fighters on there.
Pretty stacked.
Yeah, pretty stacked. So yeah, that's what we have. And then, of course, we're gonna follow what's going on. New year, top of the year. We are again gonna be, diving a little bit more into the MMA side. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Pose My Will podcast is not just strictly boxing, even though that's what we've been doing. That's what our episodes have been, right? But you look at Joe, he's not a boxer per se. When you look at some of the other interviews that we got lined up, all of them are not boxers per se. So, we are fans of combat sports. So that's what we got to look forward to. I'm looking forward to next year, man. There's some big fights on the table. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if I could be honest with you, I can't wait to see Spence Fundora. I can't wait. It's such a.
I want to hear more about that. Like, I'm still
yeah.
I'm still feeling like, is this fight going to happen or not? It's been quiet.
I mean, listen, I ain't got nothing to say, but yeah. And then I want to see, like, we got to, like, I want to see where he is. I want to see where he is.
Right.
I want to see how he adapts to a fighter that big. You know what I'm saying? I'm also super curious about if, Turkey Al-Sheikh can actually make the Bud Canelo fight happen. You know what I'm saying? It seems like a stretch at this point, but money talks. Money talks.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I'm saying?
Boxing's changing, bro. It's changing.
It's changing, man. People
for the better.
And I agree. And then also, the Mexican monster, my man, David Benavidez versus Morrell. Another big fight. So, we kicking off. And then we got Tank coming up. Even starting off the year is gonna be crazy. So I'm looking forward to next year, man. I can't believe it's damn near the end of November right now, but that's what I'm looking for next year, for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a good year, man. Like I said, we're going to end it with a bang and kick it right back off with another bang, bro.
Absolutely, that's what we're going to do.
Let's go.
So stay tuned, y'all. Stay tuned. Everything that we've been saying, we've been doing, slowly but surely. We still building, still grinding, and we're going to keep y'all abreast on everything we got going on, man.
Word. Yes, sir.
Man, the Pose My Will podcast. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. Again, please like, share, subscribe the show. Oh, Joe, tell them we on TikTok now too.
Oh yes, y'all. We are on TikTok and Pose My Will podcast. Look for the logo. Hit us up. Follow. We definitely got to get the subscriptions up. Let's have some conversations. Talk on Friday night. I will actually be online with Coach Jay, going live. He'll be doing some talking about some boxing on his show too. So that's on Friday nights at about like 7 or 8 o'clock. Yeah, man. We out here.
We out here. We doing collaborations now, as you can see. Joe is setting it off. So we are not opposed to coming on people's show. We're not opposed to having people come on our show. So
let's talk boxing.
Let's talk boxing, man. Pose My Will podcast. Peace.